Let's first look at the cut pieces here. These two are the sleeve pieces. The positions on both sides of the sleeve differ. One is the front, the other the back. The curved part at the bottom, the two pieces should be drawn as mirror images. We need to add ribbing here. I usually add the ribbing after assembling, but you can also add it first and then sew it together with the front and back pieces. Next are the two back pieces. The seam allowances on these two back pieces differ. One side is 1.5 centimeters, the other is 1 centimeter. Also, the hems of both the back and front pieces have a uniform seam allowance of 1 centimeter. Here, let's do some stitching. The one in the middle is the front piece. Then on both sides are the two sleeves. The fronts of the two sleeves face the front piece. The top two pieces are the back. The position marked back on the sleeve should align with the direction of the back. When we sew, for example, this edge is sewn together with this edge. This edge is sewn together with this edge here. The edge on the back piece and the sleeve. This edge here is sewn here together as well. This edge and this edge are sewn when together. Sewing, make sure the right sides are facing each other. For the front part, I drew this sewing line on the front side of the fabric. Because of this stripe, it's better to draw it on the front to better position it. We draw it on the back side of the fabric. Then, according to the position I just mentioned, just sew them together with the right sides facing each other. After sewing them all together, unfolding them looks like this. Then we turn them to the back side. Use an iron to press all the seam allowances open on both sides. This is how you can iron. I don't recommend that everyone follows ironing directly on your hand can easily cause everyone should find a safer method for themselves. In any case, just iron this section open. This is what it looks like after being processed. Before threading, let's first prepare this threaded part. After cutting it according to the dimensions given in the drawing, fold it in half like this, and using press the fold position as a reference, measure 5 millimeters. Draw a line at this position. When we sew later, we will stitch along this line. Here, I first attach the cuff ribbing. The ribbing's line aligns with the stitching line on the cuff underneath. The opening of the ribbing faces to the right side. Be careful when sewing. The thread on the top is definitely slightly shorter than the fabric below. So when sewing, we need to sew while pulling the top layer's thread a bit towards our own direction. Be careful not to pull the fabric underneath. The thread on my side is long because I didn't pre-cut according to that size, but the size I gave you is just right. Handle both cuffs in the same way. After sewing, flip this part to the front. Measure the top stitching along the edge of the fabric on the cuff itself. After sewing the top stitching on both sides, then we turn it over to the reverse side. You can slightly trim the seam allowance at the cuffs on both sides. Leave about 2 to 3 millimeters. Be careful when trimming. Don't cut into the fabric itself. Only cut this facing. Next, attach the ribbing at the neckline. The method of attaching the neckline ribbing is actually the same as but pay attention to one issue. The places where we start and end. Do not stretch the ribbing at this section of the style. After smoothing it out and sewing over this section of the style, at this part of the collar itself, We then stretch this ribbing this way after we stitch it up at the beginning and the end. It doesn't easily shrink inward. It's relatively flat. Later, it will be easier for us to fold it. After finishing, flip this part to the front. The ribbing underneath is oriented towards the left side. We work on the fabric of the garment itself at the neckline, so a visible top stitch around. After finishing the neckline and cuffs completely, it's like this. Here, we will handle the positions of the two rear openings. First, let's look at the shapes on both sides. They are different. One side has a wider shape, and the other side has a narrower shape. We need to align the two sides facing each other like this. Pay attention when aligning them together. We need to align with these two red lines above. These are the positions of the seam lines. Do not align with the fabric edge positions. After aligning like this, regarding the fabric edges, one side has slightly more, and the other side slightly less. There's a cutoff point on the chart. We start descending from the cutoff point. Next, we check the positions of these two styles. First, let's deal with the narrower style. This style is relatively narrow. We go directly along the position of this red line, fold it over in its own direction, like this. It's enough to firmly fix the front seam. After fixing it, it looks like this. Now, let's handle the wider side of this collar. The collar line of this collar. I'll draw it on the reverse side. Its collar line is located here. Here is the position of the fabric edge. Align this position and fold it over like this. After that, we will securely stitch along it. Fix this position in place. Sew only along the folded position. Do not sew any other parts. After finishing the car, it looks like this. The back is secured, then the front looks like this. If you don't like the car having such wide lines, it can also be narrower. You just need to fix this firmly. Then we take this wider style towards this narrower style and press it over like this, making them overlap. When flipped to the front, you can take a look. Here a notch will form an overlapping position. Then at this position of the cutoff point, sew a few stitches on it. Secure this side. If it's secured well, if we frequently put this on and take it off later, it won't easily get pulled apart on this side. You must ensure there is this overlapping position. Only when this snap position is present should you proceed to sew. After sewing, take a look. Just a short strip like this will suffice. Then, when you open it inside, it looks like this. Now let's take a look. The position of the hem at the bottom. If here later on, our inward fold will be a bit so thick. We can take what we just processed, the positions of these strokes, and trim them a bit. Trim this cutoff point towards the next step section. Just make sure not to cut the fabric. The position above the cutoff point. Later, sew it yourself. The snaps and stuff just don't like trim it. You can only trim the end point down to the next step. After trimming, it looks like this. Now, if you fold it upwards like this again, it won't be as thick anymore. The thickness of the fold here has decreased. Let's take a look now. This is the thick piece. This is the front piece. There are two sleeves on both sides. Here we will take the front piece and this thick piece together. Bring the fronts together from the side seam towards the sleeve cuff, like this. Pull it over along the seam line. After measuring, make a few cuts at the armpit area in the same way. Sew the same spot on the other side. After pulling it tight, turn the whole garment to the front and tidy it up. Fold the bottom edge inward along this style line and stitch it to secure. After tightening, it looks like this. Sew a hidden button at the back by yourself. Here we look at the color pieces. The top one is the front piece of the outer fabric, and the bottom one is the back piece at the back seam. Or you can make other marks. Just be sure to distinguish the back piece from the front. Both front and back pieces are drawn with the fabric flipped left and right, and the topmost position is the strap location. Next is the lining fabric. First. The color pieces for both lining and outer fabric are the same, just using different materials. Remember to mark at the strap position above. The lining here doesn't need marking. The seam allowance is normally left at 5 millimeters. Next is the fabric for our pocket. For both the pocket and the pocket flap, I first mark them on the fabric, then trim after measuring. I didn't fuse interfacing on the pocket fabric because my fabric is relatively thin. Therefore, I use the same fabric for both the lining and outer layers. After measuring and trimming, just turn it over. Then, for the pant hem fold, cut directly according to the pattern dimensions without adding seam allowance. Fold it in half. Iron it using the fold as a reference. This line represents a 5 millimeters allowance toward the opening. Toward the fold position below is the exposed part of the pant cuff fold. We need 2 identical pieces for this fold. Cut the strap fabric directly according to the dimensions on the blueprint. No additional seam allowance. Fold it in half first. The side folded inward is the reverse side of the fabric. Fold it and press to create a crease. Then we use the middle crease as a reference. Fold both the top and bottom sides over like this. After folding, press to create sharp creases as well. Finally, we stack the 2 sides together like this. Press again. After ironing, we evenly divide the strap into 2 parts. Cut it open from the middle. Take out one of the 2 parts. First, unfold one side of it like this. There are now 3 crease marks on it. First, fold back the crease closest to the right side. Then fold down about 5 millimeters from top to bottom as a whole. Use an iron to press and set the shape. Then fold this middle crease over towards the right side, like this. After folding, take a look. Here we have an extra piece. We just fit this extra piece into this position. This spot is relatively small. It's hard to handle with hands, so we use tweezers to assist. Try to arrange it as naturally and neatly as possible. Then we use an iron to press and shape this position. Finally, we start sewing from the untreated side. First, sew the side with the opening. Just sew all the way around and back. Measure 2 straps like this using the same method. One side of it is clean. We fold it inward. The other side does not need to be folded. The top part of these 2 pockets has 2 marking points. The positions of these 2 marking points indicate the location of the pocket opening at the same positions again. Except for the small section between these 2 marking points, for the rest of the area, we sew directly along the line. When turning, pay attention to the 2 right angle spots here. If we want the right angle position to be after flipping it over, this corner's position looks more aesthetically pleasing. If it's more aligned, then you can insert a line in later. Sisters who don't know how to mark the sewing line, there is a separate video in our tutorial folder. A method for stitching a right angle seam. Here, when we sew, the two pieces of fabric are placed right sides together. So I use the same fabric for both the top and bottom pieces. If your outer fabric is relatively thick, then use a thinner lining fabric underneath. Sew from the position of one marking point to the position of another marking point. Do not sew the middle turning open. Also, when we sew to the second right angle position, this wire might be hard to position. You can use tweezers to assist. Once sewn, we'll tuck in the wire at the front used for the right angle flip. This prevents us from accidentally cutting the wire when trimming later. Pulling this corner outward when flipping it out later is quite difficult. Now let's do some trimming. Sew along the top flap here. Leave at least a 5 mm allowance. For the other parts, leaving 2 to 3 millimeters is fine. Make some notches at the curved areas. After trimming, we turn it inside out. After turning it over, we neatly press it all over. The pocket flap and the pocket itself both use the same method. Process it like this properly. Then here we need to top stitch. For the pocket flap, we start measuring the seam from a point on this straight line. We place the joint at this position. Then we measure all around like this. As for the pocket itself, we only need to follow this straight line at the very top. Just run an exposed wire along the car, because the pocket itself is relatively Running small. An exposed wire might not be very easy. You can place a piece of paper underneath like I did. Here, I'm using just an ordinary piece of paper. Use thinner A4 paper for printing. Be careful when handling the paper. We apply force from both sides. Tear the paper open like this. Because of the spot where we sew, it's like a dotted line, making it easier to tear. The pocket flap starts from the marking point I just mentioned. Tear all around like this. After handling, set these two parts aside for now. Here we first handle the outer part, the front piece, and the back piece facing each other, front to front. So along this side seam position, the front and back pieces of the other It is also part. The same position. Be sure to distinguish clearly one front piece and one back piece. Sew them together like this. After measuring well, separate the two sides. Scrape it with your fingernail, or you can lightly scorch it with a heat tool. Then we turn to the side. On both sides of this side seam, at 1 millimeter on each side. Test this rice noodle once to make this spot a bit smoother. For sisters who don't like testing you can rice simply noodles, steam and smooth this area. Next, we'll repeat the steps. Use the same method. Also handle this ritual department. After handling the ritual department, they are exactly the same. Then we need to handle them separately now. The position of their pant Different legs. Methods are used to handle the pant. The handling method for the hem position on the outer and inner parts of the pants. Let's first handle the inner part here. The hem position of the inner part. We fold inward along this seam line toward the wrong side. Here, we need to use an iron to press and shape it. Press out this crease. After pressing it out, we can leave it for now. Set it aside for now. We'll deal with it later. Next, let's work on the hem area of the front part. Here, we follow the dimensions provided on the blueprint. Prepare the hem of the pants by folding it. For the hem, fold it in half once. Mark the position of the 5 millimeter stitch line. Then place the bottom piece of the pants with the wrong side facing Fold up. The cuff of the pants. Align it with the bottom edge. The opening of the fold faces to the right side. Just sew directly along the top and bottom stitch lines. When we reach the end, trim off the excess part. Then we fold the hem of the pants down like this. The reverse side looks like this. The front side looks like this. We sew a top stitch here to secure it. Make sure to sew on the fabric of the pants itself. After the car is fixed, it looks like this. Then we flip it to the front. We stabilize the position of this seam, leaving about a 2 millimeter gap is sufficient. But we need to pay attention to be a bit careful when cutting. Here we're just trimming this style. After trimming it well, we fold the hem of the pants up like this. Now we have it facing upwards. We are at the outermost edge. Secure it with pins on both sides in the same way. Sew at the position outside this seam line. After handling both sides properly, we also sew it at the middle position. Pay attention to this middle position. The line here needs to be stitched more neatly, because at this position, it is part of the exterior trim. It's like the feeling of a car's decorative trim. Just sew back and forth with 2 stitches like this. There's no need to sew it too long. Just like I did here, 2 stitches will be enough. Then we'll press the hem of the pants with an iron to make it a bit more neat and tidy. Then repeat the steps. Also finish handling the hem area of the other pant leg. Here we take out 2 lining pieces. Before sewing, you can mark the pocket position. Roughly outline it on the front piece of one of these lining pieces. Then we place the 2 lining pieces right sides together. Sew along the front edge beside the front piece. After finishing the removal, we make 2 or 3 notches at the curved area. Then we spread the seat seam open toward both sides. Turn it to the front side. We need to sew a pocket at this position between the 2 front pieces. As for the 2 straight lines on the left, this is exactly the position of the pocket I just drew. The pocket position is shown on our blueprint. I only drew the top and bottom lines. First, attach this pocket flap. Let's fold the pocket flap like this. Find the center point and make a mark. Do it on the reverse side of the fabric. Just make it along the edge of this entire straight line. Then we take this edge of the straight line and align it with the line above the pocket position. The marker point just drawn is aligned with the seam at the center of the 2 fabric pieces below. Take this straight edge and sew it directly along the edge, 1 millimeter from the border. Note that for this pocket flap here, it is now face down. Then take out the fabric from the pocket itself. Directly place it under the pocket flap. This part is face up. Except for the straight line at the very top, it is uneven. For the remaining parts, we sew along the edge seam. We fix this pocket in place. After measuring, we cover the pocket flap on top. Press it down like this. Use the pressing machine to iron and shape it. If you like sewing buttons, you can sew the button yourself. As for me, I used a small safety pin to secure it. It also serves as a decoration. Next, let's secure this strap part. The marking point on this front strap. I made the mark on the reverse side of this fabric. If the layer of fabric I'm ironing now isn't very transparent, you can't see the position of the marking point. You can only see this marking point. Then, take out the strap we prepared earlier. One end of the strap is clean. We previously stitched it to secure it. This is noted on our blueprint. Starting from the folded and secured end, measure a few centimeters to the other side to place the gourd buckle. For example, if your blueprint specifies 2 centimeters, mark the position at 2 centimeters. Make a mark there. The exact measurement depends on what is specified. Then use this marking point as the reference. Continue measuring a few centimeters to the side. For example, if the drawing specifies 6 centimeters, use that marking point just now as the reference. Then measure those 6 centimeters to the side. Continue to make another marking point. The distance between these 2 points is 6 centimeters. Of course, the exact measurement depends on your blueprint. There is also another issue. I feel that with each excavation, there is more or less. The thickness varies. So when everyone does it, you can also adjust according to your actual excavation Adjust the length of this required strap. Then take the second marking point we just made, with the back side facing place up. It on top of the strap marking point on the back piece. When placing it, position it slightly at an angle like this. Right next to it, look at this very edge right next to it. Does it have a tilted angle? We are parallel to this angle. Place the strap at this slant. At the position of the strap, we sew a few stitches like this. First, secure it. After securing it, leave a 5 millimeter trim off the excess part. Note that the end we trimmed has not been treated. This means the edge at that end hasn't been properly finished. Make sure you don't cut the wrong part. We use the same method to attach the strap on the other side as well. The strap on the other side is also fixed parallel to the inclined angle beside it. After both straps are fixed, it looks like this. They are all fixed parallel to the inclined angle beside them. Next, we place the 2 pant pieces facing each other position on the front after side. Sewing the darts. After finishing, make several notches at this curved area. The seam here also needs to be pressed open to both sides. After handling it, let's turn it to the front. And now it forms a complete circle like this. Then this part is used first. We take out 2 lining pieces of pants, place them together with the front sides facing each other. At the position of the front and back fly, sew them together. After sewing, make 2 notches at the curved areas. Separate the seam allowances of the front and back pieces outward on both sides. You can either scrape with your fingernails or use an iron to set the shape. Now, let's look at the bottom edge of the facing. Before we sew the facing, we need to adjust this part of the pant leg. Didn't we iron it on like this earlier? First, restore it to its original state. That is, pull down the part where it was ironed on first. Do the same on the other side as well. Then align the seam in the middle between them. Unpick it straight from the start to the end. After unpicking, we focus on the seam closer to the middle. Make 2 or 3 notches on it. Then we spread this seam open towards both sides. The positions of the pant openings on fold both along sides. The crease that we previously ironed. Fold it again. After folding, one side of the pant leg forms a complete circle. The other side is the same. Fold it properly to form a complete circle. Then we align the front side seam and fix this hem position in place. After fixing, it looks like this. Then we use the same method to fix the hem on the other side as well. After finishing both pant hems, flip it to the front and take a look. it's like this, forming a complete circle. Okay, here we align the prepared outer fabric and lining fabric with their right sides facing each other. The front pieces are aligned together on this side. The back pieces are aligned together on this side. Here we need to sew around the entire top edge. But pay attention to one issue. In the video, I sew with the lining fabric facing up. But I suggest you use the outer fabric as the reference. That is, sew with the outer fabric facing up like this. This way, the sewing will be more accurate. All the seam edges we encounter should be spread to both sides and aligned vertically. After sewing, make some cuts at the curved areas. Then turn the whole piece to the front side. Neatly arrange and flatten the edges. Then sew a visible top stitch. We align the two matching positions together upwards like this. Sew this position with the front sides facing each other. After sewing, it looks like this. We make a few notches on the middle seam. Then we take one of the pant legs openings and turn the overalls to the front side. Arrange the lining's pant opening and the outer fabric's pant opening together, aligning them all around using the long stitch method. Hide the thread end. On my side, I insert it from this position of the lining towards the fold line. Hide the thread end inside the seam allowance. Then, move towards the inner edge of the outer fabric at the topmost position of the material. Adjust it upward a bit. Be careful not to sew the outer hem of the pant's cuff. Then we continue to adjust forward a bit at the topmost position of the lining. It's actually just a regular long stitch. Sisters who don't know the long stitch method can also have a separate tutorial for the long stitch method in our folder. Keep repeating this step. Make some adjustments here on the lining side. Then make some adjustments at this position on the outer fabric. Sew all the way around. Tuck in the tail. Just hide the thread ends. 10. Now, let's position this gourd buckle. A marking point for its placement has already been made. You can freely adjust the length. Since every child's size varies, the length needed may differ slightly. You can first put clothes on the child and roughly check if the marking point is positioned properly. If it's not suitable, you can adjust it again. Then, thread the gourd-shaped button through from the front like this. After threading it, I sew a few stitches here to secure it. You can also sew a small button or some decoration on top, so you don't need to sew it further, because some sisters might not like this kind of sewing technique. Then here in the front, I sewed a small button to replace the mushroom-shaped button. I don't recommend using the small mushroom studs that come with it because they're too small. They tend to be unstable. If you put them on and take them off frequently, those mushroom studs will likely fall more secure. Or if you have other methods, you can choose according